In today's lecture, we are going to discuss the important concept of a real analysis, which is Lipschitz function, and then the concept of the differentiability, and then finally some of the important concept about the differentiability, and then the relationship between Lipschitz continuity, uniform continuity, and the differentiability. So let's start with the definition. Lipschitz function, or a function which is satisfying the Lipschitz condition. So Lipschitz function, or a function with the Lipschitz condition, or function satisfying with Lipschitz condition. Or this concept also we will use in the uniqueness existence of the solution of the first order ordinary differential equation. So let f is a function defined from a to r be a function. So A is right now any subset of R, then f is called Lipschitz function or Lipschitz continuous function if there exists some k belongs to positive real line R such that f of x minus f of y less than or equal to k time mod of x minus y. And this property holds for every x and y belongs to real line or belongs to A. So again, a function defined from A to R is called a Lipschitz function on A. So this is important. So already we have discussed the definition of a continuity, then uniform continuity. The definition of continuity is a point-based property. Then we have discussed that the definition of uniform continuity is the domain-based property. Similarly, the definition of a Lipschitz function is again domain-based property. A function defined from A to R is called Lipschitz function or Lipschitz continuous function on A if there is a some positive real number which is satisfied this condition. Now, if x is equal to y, so obviously this quantity 0, this quantity 0, so this inequality obviously holds. Now, for all x not equal to y with x, y belongs to A, we can write down this one. So x not equal to y, x, y belongs to A. So definitely mod of x minus y should not be 0. We are using the Euclidean distance. X not equal to y. So distance between x and y is non-zero. Or by the definition of a distance function, you can use general case. So this implies we can define f of x minus f of y upon x minus y, which should be less than or equal to k. And this should hold for all x, y belongs to A with assuming that x not equal to y. So what is the geometrical meaning of this thing? If we will assume that this is the graph of your function fx, the simple example, then and this point is x point, this point is y point, then definitely this point is x comma f of x and this one is y comma f of y. And say this is the line segment passing through these 2 points, say L of x, y, since L is depending on x and y. Now the slope of Lxy is defined as f of x minus f of y upon x minus y. Simple definition of a slope of a line segment. Then the modulus value of this slope as representing this quantity. So if your function is a Lipschitz function on a set A, then for every xy belongs to A, the line segment passing through x comma fx, y comma fy has bounded slope, or the slope of every line segment passing corresponding to any 2 point of A with x comma fx with y comma fy must be bounded. Then your function must be a Lipschitz continuous. So geometrically, if the slope of every line segment on the curve y equal to fx is bounded, then your function is called a Lipschitz function, or function is a satisfying Lipschitz condition, or we say that function is a Lipschitz continuous. All are equivalent. So geometrically you can write down the definition. If f is a function defined from A to R, then f is a Lipschitz continuous on A if and only if the slope of every line segment on the curve y equal to fx is bounded in modulus value, or simply we can say that bounded, then it is Lipschitz continuous. For example, if we will take an simplest example, f of x is equal to simple x function, identity function. F of x is x. Now, by definition, first we will use this definition. By definition, if we will find f of x minus f of y, obviously this is equal to x minus y. So if we can take k equal to 1, then this inequality hold implies f is Lipschitz continuous on whole real line R. Or geometrically, if we will find the slope of this line segment, so this is y equal to x line. So for all x y belongs to R with x not equal to y, the slope of Lxy, say this is x point, this is y point, the line segment passing through x comma y is the same as fx, and slope, and this angle is a 45 degree, so tan 45 is this angle is 45, so slope is 1. So slope of every line segment is equal to 1, which is bounded. So definitely this function is a Lipschitz continuous. Similarly, if we will take a mode function, then slope of every line segment passing through any two distinct point or any 2 point on the curve is again bounded, because either slope is 1 or slope is minus 1, and in modulus value slope must be equal to 1. So hence simply f of x is equal to mod x function is also Lipschitz continuous on whole real line R. Another example, if we will take f of x is equal to say x square. Say x belongs to real line. Geometrically, if we will draw the graph, this is the graph of y equal to x square. Now, the slope whenever x and y tends to plus infinity, the slope of line segment is unbounded. So definitely this function is not Lipschitz continuous on whole real line R. So this function is not Lipschitz continuous on whole real line R. By definition, you can also check. If we will find f of x minus f of y, say less than k time x minus y, and this one is x square minus y square less than or equal to k time x minus y, and this inequality should hold for every xy belongs to real line. So in particular, y can be 0. So this inequality hold for every x and y provide whenever f is ellipsis continuous. So this implies mod of x square less than or equal to mod of x for all x belongs to R. Now if you will draw the graph of mod function and graph of mod of x square just on a positive real line. So this is mod of x and this one is x square and this point is x is equal to 1. So as x tends to infinity, the x square is greater than x. As x tends to infinity, x square is greater than x. So definitely for all k belongs to R plus, as x tends to infinity, x square must be greater than or equal to kx. But if your function is ellipsis continuous, so x square must be less than k times x whenever x tends to infinity. So this is a contradiction. So by definition you can prove, or geometrically you can prove. Geometrically, if the slope of every line segment on the curve y equal to fx is bounded in modulus value, then your function should be ellipsis continuous and conversely. Just you have to check this. And next one is the relationship between uniform continuity and ellipsis continuity. So if f is a function say defined from a to r, be a function. Okay. F is a function which is defined from a to r. So basically you have to verify whether a ellipsis continuous function on A is uniform or whether a uniform continuous function on A is ellipsis continuous, or if and only if condition. So let's start with the simple first example. F of x is equal to say square root of x and x belonging to say close 0 to or open 0 to 1. You can also take a close interval, no issue. For simplicity, close 0 1. So this f function is continuous function on close 0 1. For last class, we have proved that a function defined on a closed interval is uniform continuous if and only if it is continuous. So this implies f is uniformly continuous function on whole closed 0. So this fx is uniform continuous on whole real line 0 1. And if you will draw the graph of this function, so this is y is equal to x line, or this is the graph of square root of x. As x tends to 0, your graph is parallel to y axis. That is, slope of line segment is tending to plus infinity. So in the neighborhood of 0, it may or it can fail the ellipsis continuity. Just use the definition now. If this f is ellipsis function, so this implies there must exist some k belongs to positive real line with condition, just definition, fx minus fy less than or equal to k times mod of x minus y, and this should hold for all xy belonging to close 0 and 1. So in particular, again we can take y equal to 0, so definitely fy is also 0. And this property hold for every x and y defined on closed interval, so definitely it is hold for y equal to 0. So this implies mod of fx should be less than or equal to mod of x. This implies this is the square root of x. Since function is defined from 0 to x and function is a positive, So we can remove this modulus value, should be less than or equal to k times x. Or we can say that square root of x upon x is less than or equal to x for all x belonging to 0 to 1. Open it to at 0 obviously property satisfied. Now as x tends to 0, this value tends to plus infinity. So this is not bounded, implies this is not possible. So this is contradiction. Since as x tends to infinity, this is 1 upon square root of x, which is x tends to 0, this is 1 upon square root of x, which tends to infinity, which is not bounded quantity. Or geometrically, this is the graph of x and this is the graph of square root of x. The square root of x is greater than x in the neighborhood of 0, but we need square root of x should be less than or equal to some k times x. So this is your contradiction. That is, this function does not satisfy Lipschitz continuity, whereas this is uniform continuous and continuous. So first example, the uniform continuity. So in this case, if f is uniform continuous, so if f is a uniform continuous function, this does not implies, big does not, f is Lipschitz continuous function. So uniform continuity does not implies Lipschitz continuity. Next one is, what about the Lipschitz continuity? Whether it implies uniform continuity or not. So next is, if f is Lipschitz function on A. So that is function satisfying Lipschitz condition. So this obviously implies there must exist k belongs to R plus such that mod of fx minus f of y is less than or equal to k times mod of x minus y. There is a some positive real number such that this property hold and this property hold for every x and y belongs to given set E. Clear? Now, for uniform continuity, we have to prove that for every epsilon there should be a delta. So, for any epsilon greater than 0, we have to find the delta such that whenever, so basically, just recall the definition of uniform continuity. For every epsilon greater than 0, there is a delta greater than 0 such that if mod of x minus y less than delta, this should implies mod of fx minus fy less than epsilon. So आपको ये proof करना है basically. So whenever you have to prove this one, just start with this condition. If mod of x minus y is less than delta and fx minus fy should be less than k times this one. So we have to prove that this quantity should be less than epsilon. So if we will assume that this is less than this one, so this implies f of x or k times mod of x minus y less than k times delta because k is the positive. And if we will consider this quantity epsilon, so corresponding to every epsilon we can define delta which is epsilon by k. Epsilon is positive, k is positive, so this definitely positive quantity. Just whenever you have to prove, just start with the first condition. So for every epsilon greater than 0, define delta which is epsilon by k. Definitely it is positive. Now if mod of x minus y less than delta implies mod of x minus y less than epsilon by k, so this obviously implies k times mod of x minus y less than delta. Oh, sorry, this is less than epsilon. And this quantity is greater than or equal to this one. So this obviously implies mod of fx minus f of y less than epsilon. So whenever, sorry, for every epsilon greater than 0, we can define delta greater than 0 such that if the distance between x and y is less than delta, then distance between fx and fy must be less than epsilon. So hence, whenever your function is a Lipschitz continuous function or Lipschitz function on A, this always implies, so again big implies, always implies f is uniformly continuous function. So Lipschitz continuity always implies uniform continuity, but uniform continuity does not imply Lipschitz continuity. Or obviously, if it is uniform continuous, so then it must be a continuous function. So we can also write down if f is Lipschitz continuous function, on A, so this must implies f is continuous function on A. But converse obviously not true. We have taken the example fx equal to root x or fx equal to x square. Both functions are continuous, but they are not Lipschitz continuous. So this is the basic relationship between uniform continuity and Lipschitz continuity with respect to continuity. And the next concept is the differentiability of a function and some of the important properties. Then we have to find the relationship between differentiability, Lipschitz continuity. So let's start with the definition. What is the differentiability of the function? So a differentiable function. So let f be a function or f be a function defined from a set A to R. Be a function and thus A is an interior point of this set. So the definition of interior point is there exists a delta greater than 0 such that A minus delta, A plus delta is contained in A. So basically we can tends to A from left of A and from right of A. If it is not an interior point, then we can define further with definition. Now we are considering A is an interior point. Then f is called differentiable function at or differentiable function at A. So again, the property of a differentiability is a point based property. It is not domain based property. If it is hold on every point, then obviously it is defined on domain. So f is called a differentiable function if limit x tends to A. Since every interior point is a limit point, so we can discuss the tending position. So if limit x tends to A, phi of x exists. Now what is this phi? So this phi of x is slope of line segment passing through point x comma f of x and y comma f of y. So a function defined from A to R is called a differentiable at a point A where A is an interior point, if this limit exists, or where phi is representing the line segment passing through x comma fx and basically a comma fa, not y comma fi. And if this limit exists, then the derivative of f at a is denoted by f dash a is defined as limit x tends to a phi of x. So the geometrical meaning of phi is this one. That is, if you will draw this one, so this point is a and this is a minus delta, or this is a plus delta. Say this point is x, we can tends to x tends to a, or for simplicity this is your curve of function, and this point is x comma f of x, and this point is a comma, or in larger picture. So if say this is x point and this is a point and this is your curve, so definitely this point is x comma f of x and this point is a comma f of a. Then the line segment passing through x comma f x is this one, and the slope of this line segment is given by f of x minus f of a upon x minus a, and this is representing phi of x. Phi of x is slope of a line segment passing through x comma fx and a comma fa. Then this function is called a differentiable provided this limit exists, and the derivative of f at a is the value of this limit, that is called a derivative of this function. So basically, what is the geometrical behavior of this definition? As x tends to a, so whenever x is tending to a, for example, x is moves to this one, x1. At this point, the line segment is this one. Whenever x is approaches to a, so your line segment is passing through only point a, and it has become a tangent line. So the limit x tends to a f of x, phi of x, what does this represent? As x tends to a, this line segment is a tangent line at a point a. So this is basically slope of tangent line at point a comma f. Or if this angle is theta, then this is definitely tan of theta, and this is denoted by derivative of f at with respect to x at point x is equal to. So whenever we are defining the derivative, so this concept we will use in the ordinary differential equation. So before defining ordinary differential equation, we have to know the definition of a derivative. So the definition of a derivative is basically the slope of a tangent line at a given point A. Now if at a point A tangent line is not unique, so definitely this derivative does not exist. Or what is the condition when tangent line is not unique? So if we have this point, sharp edge, say this is the point, so just sharp edge, or this is sharp edge. Now there are infinite number of tangent at this point. So whenever in your curve there is a sharp edge, then there is more than one tangent line. So definitely if more than one tangent line, then function is never differentiable. So the meaning of a differentiable is your curve should be a smooth curve, then function is a differentiable at that given point. Or we can write down this is the definition. If this limit is exists, then function must be a differentiable function. And obviously, whenever function is a differentiable function, then it must be continuous, because this limit is exists. Then whenever distance between x and a is less, so obviously distance between fx and fa must be small quantity. Whenever distance between x and a is less, then distance between fx and fa obviously less. So definitely, if a function is a differentiable, it must be a continuous function. So I think clear this definition. Geometrical meaning is the slope of a tangent line at a given point is called a point of differentiability. If tangent is not unique, then function is not differentiable. For example, if we will take a function mod of x, simplest example, f of x is equal to mod of x, and if we will draw the geometrically this graph on real line, so this is the graph of mod of x. So whenever we are approaching to 0 from right side, we are approaching to 0 from right hand side, the theta angle between this x-axis and this line is 45 degree. So definitely tan of theta is 1 whenever we are approaching to from left to right, or whenever we are approaching to 0 from left hand side, then this slope is minus 1, or there are infinite number of tangent on this point. So this f of x is equal to mod x is not a differentiable function at x is equal to 0, but it is continuous. So continuity of the function does not imply the differentiability of the function, but the differentiability of the function always implies the continuity of the function. Just you can easily verify by the definition. So your mod function is not differentiable at 0, and you can also prove by definition. If we will define the phi x function, so whenever you have to prove the differentiability of a function, just consider this phi x function, which is f of x minus f of 0 upon x minus 0 for all x should not be 0. Phi x is the slope of a line segment, or whenever we are defining the line segment, definitely it must be passing through two different points. So this x is never equal to 0. Now just put the value of a function f of x. F of x is a mod x, f0 is 0, so this is mod of x by x for all x not equal to 0, which is the same as 1 whenever x is greater than 0, minus 1 whenever x is less than 0. So limit x tends to 0 minus phi of x obviously equal to minus 1, and the limit x tends to 0 plus phi of x is equal to 1. So left hand limit is minus 1, right hand limit is 1. Obviously this limit does not exist. Hence your function is not differentiable at 0. And if we will consider this function mod of x to the power n and n is greater than 1, then by same definition this is x to the power n and this is mod of, or basically x to the power n minus 1, or we can write down this as whenever x is greater than 0, then this quantity is x to the power n minus 1. Whenever x is less than 0, so this quantity is minus of x to the power n minus 1. Now n is greater than 0, so limit x approaches to 0 phi of x, n is greater than 0, so this quantity or this quantity both tends to 0. So that is mod of x to the power n whenever n is greater than 1, so this function must be a differentiable function, and this is not differentiable whenever n is equal to 1. So simple example. Next is some of the important property with respect to differentiability. So first we will find the relationship between Lipschitz continuity and differentiability. So if f is a function, say defined from a to r, be a function, or we can say that defined from I to r, be a function, where I is an interval. Now first, if f is a Lipschitz continuous, so f is the Lipschitz function on I. So we have to verify whether it is a differentiable or not. So simple example, if we will take f of x is equal to mod of x, with x belongs to -1 to 1. Definitely this f is Lipschitz continuous or satisfying a Lipschitz condition, but f is non-differentiable. So whenever your function is a Lipschitz continuous on some domain or some interval, this does not imply f is a differentiable function. So Lipschitz continuity on a given domain does not imply differentiability of function on the given domain. Next one is, if f is a differentiable function on I, say on whole interval I, whether this implies f is Lipschitz continuous on I. So just we have to find that whether the differentiability of a function on a I, that is a function is a differentiable on every point of this interval, whether this implies this function is a Lipschitz continuous on I. Simple example, if we will take f of x is equal to x square, x belonging to real line, obviously f is a differentiable function on R, because at every point this function is a smooth graph, unitangent line. But we have already discussed that f is not Lipschitz continuous on R. So again, the differentiability of a function defined on an interval does not imply Lipschitz continuity of the function. So the differentiability of a function defined on the interval does not imply Lipschitz continuity of the function. Now, if f is a differentiable function on I and the derivative f dash is bounded on I. So if f is a differentiable function and the derivative is bounded on I, that is, for all a belongs to I, f dash a is bounded, or f dash a is, that is, this derivative is bounded, that is, the slope of every tangent line is bounded, or if slope of every tangent line is bounded, definitely slope of every line segment on y is equal to fx is bounded. Or if slope of every line segment is bounded, so obviously implies f is Lipschitz continuous. So whenever your function is a differentiable function and the derivative is bounded, then it must be Lipschitz continuous function. So what is the condition? Differentiability plus derivative bounded implies f is Lipschitz continuous function. But Lipschitz continuity does not imply differentiability, or differentiability does not imply Lipschitz continuity. So these are some of the relation between Lipschitz continuity and the differentiability. Next is the relationship between the uniform continuity and the differentiability. Again, if we will consider the function f of x is equal to mod of x, this function is Lipschitz continuous and uniformly continuous function on whole real line R, but f is not a differentiable at 0. So the uniform continuity of a function on a given domain does not imply the differentiability of the function on that region. So this one is the first example. Next one, we have to verify if f is differentiable on I, whether this implies f is uniformly continuous function. So the differentiability of a function on an interval, whether this implies uniform continuity of this function on this given interval I. So if we will consider a function, simply f of x is equal to sine 1 by x and x belonging to say open 0, then geometrically you can easily verify this f is differentiable function on 0. Now whether this is uniform continuous or not, if we will take a sequence en is equal to 1 upon n pi and bn is equal to 1 upon 2n plus 1 pi by 2. So definitely f of en is 0 and f of bn is plus minus 1 depending on n, and the distance between en and bn tends to 0 as n tends to infinity, but the distance between images fn and fbn, this is equal to 1, which does not tends to 0, implies f is not uniformly continuous. Or you can directly say that since at a 0 limit of this function does not exist, so this function must be not uniform, because on open interval of a finite length a function is uniform continuous if and only if it is a continuous and limit at endpoint exists. So if your function is differentiable on a given interval I, does not imply it is a uniformly continuous. So this is the example for that. So f is differentiable on I does not imply f is uniformly continuous function on I. So simple example, fx is equal to sine 1 by x. But obviously if f is a differentiable function and f dash is bounded on I, so we have already proved that A function is differentiable with derivative bounded implies ellipse is continuous, or every ellipse is continuous function is uniform continuous. So this implies f is ellipse is continuous and uniformly continuous on I. So these are the some of the relationship between differentiability, uniform continuity and the ellipsis continuity. And in next lecture we will continue with the definition of the differentiability and some of the important concept or application of the differentiability. Thank you.